everyone, welcome to episode 111 of the Arieknits podcast. My name is Ario, and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. And today's episode, it is Saturday, April 12th, and I know it's been 3 weeks. I believe it's been 3 weeks since the last time I have filmed. I apologize for being away for so long, but fun news is that I went on a trip to Japan. I was not there for the full 3 weeks, but I had such a great time, and I have some really fun crafty yarn acquisitions to share with you all that I brought back from my trip. And so that will be at the end of the video, and I'll talk a little bit more about my Japan trip there. But I have a lot of good updates. I didn't get as much knitting done as I thought I would during this trip, but that's because I wasn't knitting all day, every day for the past 3 weeks. I've been kind of doing a lot of other things, but I still have good updates. I have 3 new cast-ons to share with you all. Yes, these were like trip-specific cast-ons, and not so much just like, you know, I mean, part of it was like inspired by my trip, but also like I needed something that was like plain, accessible, like easy to knit on a very long plane ride. So anyway, there's 3 new cast-ons. I have progress on my other projects that I've already been working on, and I have like some like finished sort of ish updates to share with you all, but not too much. Just a lot of cast-ons and a lot of working on whips. But let's get right into it because I think my acquisition section might be kind of long. So let's start with what I am wearing today. This is my Kermode hoodie by Winter's Weather Knits, and I think this is the first time I'm wearing it on a podcast. I finished it before, weeks before, but this was a test knit, and it is actually out now. It came out this past week. I also had another test knit that came out this past week. I was like packed. I realized like right before I went on my trip, I needed to finish my test knits, get those notes in, and so I did do that. But now the patterns are out. So both the Kermode hoodie, which I'm wearing right now, and then the Maeve vest by Emily Chen, which I've wore, I think, in my last video. It's the pink vest that has the cabled armholes, and I've talked a lot about that one, so definitely check that one out. The pattern's out now. And then, again, Kermode hoodie is also out now. The yarn I use for this is Julie Asselin Boucle in the colorway Dentelle, which is this really pretty purple color. I knit size extra small. I use US 4 needles or 3.5 millimeter needles to knit this. Final measurements I got for this is 40 inches in circumference, so that gives me about 10 inches of positive ease. And measurement-wise, it got really close to the final measurements on the pattern and like the schematic. I think because it's such a huge knit, it's like pretty difficult, I feel like, to get every single piece the exact measurement because there's just so much knitting to do. Gauge changes a little bit while you're knitting, even if you do a gauge swatch and all of that. But I got very close in all directions for this knit. If you remember, I guess I'll put the hood on now because you'll see there's optional but very cute bear ears that you can attach to the hood here. It is an open cardigan. As you can see, there's no buttons, no zippers, or no closure, but it's a very generously sized hood. The sleeves are also really nice and roomy, but not super baggy, but it cinches really close to the wrist. There's some shaping that happens here so that it doesn't, fall all over your wrist. You can like really easily, what I personally like in long sleeve knits is where you can, move it all the way up your elbow, but it's tight enough where it won't fall down, and so you can kind of like do whatever you need to do with your sleeves rolled up, and so I find that really nice. I've been wearing this for a little bit, and also I did wear it out this past week during one of the days when it was a little bit cooler, and it's super warm. If it's hot outside but breezy, it's also really nice to wear. And yeah, it is knit. The construction on this, if you've watched my podcast, I've talked about it before. The construction is very interesting. It's actually worked flat, top down. I don't know how to describe it, but like the sleeves, like this sleeve, this view of the sleeve, the front part of it, it's actually there's also, you have all the live stitches at the top here, and you knit it all down in this one side, and then you also knit the sleeve flat on the other side, and then you do like three needle bind offs, I believe, for connecting the underarm here and also at the top seam here. It's very seamless, like it's pretty seamless. You can see it like right here. I think what helps is that the Boucle is really kind of like fluffy yarn, so you don't really see any seams too much, or if you're sewing in something, you don't really see that much like detail in it, which is really nice to hide like those stitches. And so I will say, when you start this pattern, there's a lot of knitting to get done. You have a lot of things on your needles, a lot of stitches on your needles, but once you get past the sleeves, you're just working the cardigan how you normally would, flat, just for the whole body all the way down. And there are pockets that are done, worked the same way. Sorry, I don't know why I said work the same way. I mean worked like continuously. You don't sew them on later. If you follow the pattern, it's really easy to understand, in my opinion, how to make the pockets. You just have to trust the pattern. There is a folded hem. Again, this might be kind of hard to see because it's boucle, but it has this really nice finish on the hem at the bottom because it is rolled, and then you do sew it in. There is a curved hem. Oh my gosh, I need to get farther and maybe tippy toe. Maybe do this. There, it does curve from the front, so it's lower in the back. And then there's this amazing double knit band that goes all the way up this side. Do you see how thick it is? It's like this, all the way around the hood. Let me pull up this hood again. All the way around the hood, the double knit trim is made, and all the way down the front. And so it's amazing. It's super cozy. It is a lot of knitting. It's a lot of knitting. I think I knit the smallest size, and I needed, I think, 7.4 skeins of this yarn to knit. So it is a massive knit, and needed more yarn than the initial estimates. And I think that towards the end of the test knit, saw that a lot of people needed some extra yarn to buy extra yarn, and so I don't think I was the only one who got gauge, really close to gauge, or just like, measurements wise, nothing was super crazy or out of proportion where that would affect yardage estimates too much. And so I did notice in the final pattern that the yardage estimates were upped from the test pattern, and so I thought that was great because it uses a lot of yarn. But wow, this is an amazing cozy knit. It was so fun. I love taking the finished object pictures for this because I went out to a park and took some pictures and kind of pretended like I was like a bear behind some, I guess it wasn't like a full tree, but it was like a stump. But the pictures are on my Instagram. But I really just enjoyed the final product of this. The knitting, again, felt like it took a long time. But once you got through making the sleeves, everything felt like it went along as a normal cardigan would, in terms of like lengthwise. It felt like the double knit trim did feel like it took forever. It's a lot of stitches, and it's double knit, and so it is crazy, and it goes all the way around the hood, but it provided for a really nice edge finish and like this weight, and like it's basically like it's a double like heftiness of fabric, so it just feels luxurious, is maybe how I would describe it. And the ears on the hood are really cute, so I do love that. It is big enough where I can pretty much wear this. Right now I'm just wearing like a tank top under this, but I could wear like a full-on sweatshirt and wear this over. I've done that before when I'm really cold, so it's really nice to do that. But it's also not so crazy where it's not so it doesn't look so crazy big, right? Like it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't look like a robe. Maybe to some people maybe it looks like a robe, but it feels robe like in the sense where I can put it on over basically anything that I'm wearing to keep myself extra warm. And I love that because I get cold very easily. So this is super nice. The Boucle, this was my first time working with this specific yarn, and the Boucle has some alpaca in it. It's a different composition of fiber than some other boucle I work with, which was just merino, and so this one has alpaca. It's very soft, very fuzzy. It feels just super luxurious. I'm very happy with this final finished object of it, and I'm going to wear it as much as I can until it gets way too hot to wear it here. So yeah, so this is my Kermode hoodie. I realized I wanted to like get through all of my knits really quickly so I can get to my acquisitions, but I felt like because this was a finished object and I'm wearing it and my first time kind of talking about the fit and stuff, I really wanted to talk in detail about it. But yeah, if you have any questions more on it, just please let me know. And yeah, this is the Kermode hoodie. I'm very happy with it. Very pleased and happy that another test knit is done and completed. Okay, let's talk about a finished object. This isn't actually anything new, but it is officially a finished object because I washed and blocked them since the last time I've shown them to you all. So really quickly, this is my Shorty sock sets. From Summer Lee, it's the All the Frills version of it in the pattern, which is just the portion where the cuffs have a little frilly section at the top. These are worked top down, so you do just cast on a whole bunch of stitches first and then do some decreases to get that frill going. There's a 1x1 rib all the way until you work the heel flap basically, and you just finish up. It's a nice simple stockinette sock, and this was my March socks, and so I did finish my March socks in the month of March. I know it's April right now, but this was my March sock set. I think really cute. They're just looking a lot more clean and flat now that I've washed and blocked them. I brought them with me to Japan to get some finished object pictures of them in Japan because I thought that'd be cute, and also because it kind of felt, the colors kind of felt very like matches the season. And also this sock set was from Itobito, which I think they dye their yarn in Japan, is what the label said. So hand dyed in Japan. So I thought that that'd be perfect. And so these are the socks. It did come with a mini, so it was like a full-on sock set, and I used a mini for the toes and the heels, and I'm really happy with it. Very cute, and so I wanted to just officially show that to you all as a finished object. Just really quickly, because I'm looking back at my notes, Itobito sock set, colorway Summer Sweetheart. I knit size small. I use US 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter needles to knit this, and yeah, the sock set was from a Le Mercerie Year of Socks. I didn't buy the Year of Socks, but it was just like some extras that I ended up just buying individually. Okay, now let's talk about my long list of whips for the past 3 weeks. Let's talk first about, and they're kind of like sitting all over me right now on both sides because organization is crazy right now. Okay, I am almost done with this. This is my only current test knit right now. It is the Avenue T by Tori. I'm using Explorer Knits and Fibers linen sock base in the colorway Beet Juice. As you can see, this is a color that has really grown on me in the past few months or past year or something. It's really pretty, and I'm really happy that I got this yarn and this base in this colorway. This, I am knitting size 1, and I used US 4 needles, 3.5 millimeter needles to knit this. And again, it's a test knit, and it's due pretty soon, I think this coming week. So I will hold up what I have, and it's basically done. I just need to wash and block it. I know, I feel like lately just all my projects are like, I'm showing it to you all before washing and blocking. Like literally everything is done. Knitting is done. The weaving in ends is done. Cutting the ends are done. I just need to wash and block it. I was at this point like a few days ago, and so I could have fully finished it for the podcast this weekend, but I didn't. So, but I will get it done because I need this to be fully done by the time I send in my pattern notes and take finished object pictures and stuff. But as you can see, I did the V-neck version. Sorry, I need to hold still for a little bit. I am doing the V-neck version. You'll see it's kind of like flipping in a little bit, the ribbing, but I knit the Avenue Vest by Tori, which is very similar shaping and kind of design. And it did the same, and it flattened out after blocking, so I'm not worried at all about it, but I just wanted to let you all know on that part. Short sleeves, all of the edging is a 1x1 rib with a knit bind off. As you can see here, even on the body ribbing. And I made no modifications except for body length. I actually was just knitting in the round for the body because, like, just somewhat mindlessly, because I was like, this is going to take forever. And I ended up being, I think, like an inch longer than pattern states, but I was like, I'm not going to rip back. And actually, I think an inch longer would be perfect, and it is. I really like the length on this right now. So after I wash and block, we'll see how many more inches that actually is. But from just how it is right now, it was an inch longer than pattern dimensions. And so that is the only change I made. I made the sleeves to the length that the pattern states. And so, yeah, the only change I made was body length. And it was slightly on accident, but I think lengthwise it's going to work out really nicely for how I would like it to fit. You can see it's kind of wrinkly at the bottom because it's just been sitting in my bag like this. Because, again, I just need to wash and block this thing. So, amazing. I think it's going to fit so nice. This yarn blend and, like, fiber content, this linen base by Explorer Knits feels so nice. It's really soft. It doesn't feel, like, plant-y, like the linen part, not that much at all. And so, I think this is going to feel amazing to wear, and I'll probably want to get more of this base eventually, because it's going to be so nice and comfortable to wear, especially during the summer, but probably just anytime around, throughout the year. So that is my Avenue T. It is the closest one to being like fully finished out of all of my whips right now. Let's talk about this next one. Where did I put it? It is right here. This is my like no pattern 2-color brioche scarf thing that I am working on. I have been enjoying working on this while watching TV and kind of like when I don't want to have to think too much or read a pattern. So I'll hold up what I have right now. I'll hold it back here. It doesn't look all that long. You can see my stitch marker on this side from where I was last time I showed it to you. So it looks like I almost doubled what I have, but when I'm like working on it, it doesn't really feel that way, which is kind of funny. But I did make a good milestone like point on this because actually let me talk about yarn first. So the yarn I'm using for this is Coast to Coast Yarn Classic DK in the colorway Sprinkle, which is on this side. You can see it the best. And then I am also using Sewrella Yarn Classic Sock Held Double in the colorway Hollywood Studios, which is the tonal color you can see on this side. I'm using US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles for this, and the milestone I reached was that I have reached the end of my first ball of my my tonal color here. So this is all I have left of the first ball. And I only have 2 of each of these colors, and so this is looking like the halfway point of my scarf. Now, as far as is this going to be long enough for me to wear it, I have no idea quite yet, but I think I'm just going to continue on because I still have this much left of my DK weight skein, and so I think by the end I'm going to have still extra of this when I run out of my tonal colorway. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep knitting on this until I run out of my second skein of the tonal color. And then I'll actually just wrap it around me at that point to see how I feel about the length. Because I'm just trying to think, if this is the halfway point, and this is like hanging, I'm like holding it right at the back of my neck. Just hanging it around my neck, not even tying it, it's looking kind of short. Now, with blocking, I think this is going to grow a lot. So again, we'll see. But I kind of felt like I was going to be short. Actually, I wouldn't even mind if this was just like a really short thing too. But I'm just knitting this to knit this right now. And I'm just kind of going with the flow on this. And so I'll just wait and see. But that's how I'm not stressed about it. It's just been enjoyable to knit 2-color brioche. I think it's really fun and relaxing. I really love seeing these colors worked together, and I think they look really nice. I could end up doing, if I do want it longer, I'll probably just look in stash for a yarn that I could just like substitute out with the tonal to finish up the rest of my DK weight, like variegated colorway, because I don't think I have anything similar to that in my stash, although maybe, but yeah, I'm just kind of going with the flow on this one. I did cast this on initially to be kind of matching, but color-wise not matching, just like project matching with Emily, my friend Emily, and also Megan is knitting one of these as well. I have not caught up on their podcast since my trip, and so maybe they've already talked about this, and I'm really, really behind, but Emily is knitting, that, as far as I know, a 2-color brioche scarf, and she lightly followed a pattern for it, but hers is like basically a black and white color. It looks very cool in a very, black and white contrast color situation, and she needed some friend motivation to help her keep going on that project, because it has been some time since she first started it. And so me and Megan decided we wanted to cast on something similar. Megan's one is going to look way closer to Emily's one than mine, because Megan is doing a black and white one as well. So yeah, but I wanted to join in on the fun, and I wanted to use yarn and stash, and I thought those would be great. So mine will also probably be significantly shorter in length than theirs, but it's all right. It's just for the friend fun vibes for me on this one. Okay, next up, I want to fly through these. I have some progress on my book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. This is actually another friend group knit. And I have come to some trouble with this. Let me hold up what I have so far. Book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I'm using Woolberry Fiber Coat Berry Worsted in the colorway New York in the Fall. I absolutely love this colorway. It's so pretty. I'm really into this color right now. And I'm knitting size 1, and I'm using US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this. So this is the front. You can see that I have joined in the round now. I've joined the front and backs together. Sorry, not joined in the round, just joined the front and back. And so now I'm working the body, just working on the body. This is the back. And I don't want to say this every single time I talk about this, because it'll probably get boring if you watch my podcast all the time, just hearing the same thing. But we are, as a group, or at least most of us, are following a modification by someone else who knit this and had like a Ravelry page talking about her modifications. Megan reached out to her and got a little bit more information, and then Megan also made us a really nice chart for all the different sizes that our friend group is knitting to make those changes. Part of that change was to this pick up from the back slope shoulder shaping to pick up for the front. There is a cable now. Before there was no cable, and there was kind of like a weird section over here as far as the cable pattern that made it look not matching and kind of weird. And so now there's a cable there, and the cable also continues down the sides around the armhole, if you can see that, and now connects to join right up under and like continues, but is now like right next to each other, so it's more like this cable section right here in the normal cable chart. I feel like that was a lot of words, but I was having some issues with lining up my pickup from the shoulder to match up with the cable pattern that's happening on the back. And it's still kind of a little wonky, but I can live with it. I just wanted, like, do you see this line here? Like, I wanted that to match up. And I think it looks pretty good actually right now, but I had to like rip back a few times to redo that. And then there was some like seed stitch things happening. I'm going to talk about it just to say it, because this is part of my process on like what happened. But although it might not make sense because I didn't show you the before. But if you can see like this back section, if I'm looking, this is like one of the armholes. On the back there is seed stitch right here. Basically right up to the armhole. Well, a seed stitch and then, actually seed stitch or moss stitch, cable, and an armhole. But what happened was in the front, because of the changing, because we were adding a cable, there's like added stitches now. The sizing might be a little different. Whatever. When I picked it the first time, you can see that right now I have a smaller column of moss stitch right by the armhole. But before, there was none. And so it was just like, trying to pinch it in. It was just like this. And I didn't like that because when I don't know, I just felt like when I was connecting it under the arm here, I wanted it to have like seed stitch, cable, seed stitch. And not seed stitch, cable, and then more cables. And so I want to be a bit more symmetrical. That does mean I have more stitches on my needles than the modification even says, and further away from the pattern now. But I just preferred it to look that way. They're not symmetrical in number of stitches. I think there might be like 6 stitches here with, and this one is 3 stitches of moss stitch, but I just needed some to be there versus none, because otherwise I thought it would look kind of weird. But anyway, so that is like the modification on top of the modification that I have made. But yeah, now that I am joined, the front and backs together, and I'm just working it all just flat now, I can kind of relax a bit more on this one and just like follow the charts. Following the charts is a bit tricky. Like this one is not a knit while watching TV, or like I can knit on this while watching TV if it's something I've seen before, but if it's something new, I can't work on this because I really need to focus on the charts. But yeah, I'm glad to be kind of past, I think, the point of like really having to think hard on this. And so I'm happy now. I do need to think about the pockets placements, because I think that's another thing that might have been modified a little bit. But my plan right now is to just continue working on the body until I run out of this ball of yarn. This might be my 3rd ball of yarn. Not sure. Is it my 3rd? I don't know. But yeah, when I run out of this ball of yarn, then I'll decide what I want to do. I might actually work on a sleeve, because that's kind of usually what I do, but we will see. This is not right now the most fun thing for me to work on, but I do want to get it done and like continue working on it, and not totally forget about it, so it will get worked on. Guess I'll put this one here for now. Maybe right here. Okay, moving on. Oh, I want to talk about this because I have been working on this quite a bit. I have been working on my one crochet project right now. This is the Bespoke cardigan by Nikki, who is stitch.story on Instagram, and her pattern is on an Etsy page, and so I do have that linked below in the description notes. And the yarn I'm using for this is the Rerum Natura Gilliat in the colorway Cacao, and I am in love with this right now. I love this yarn. It's been really fun to kind of just have a different hand movement going versus knitting to be doing crochet. So the progress I wanted to report on is, I think last time I talked to you all, or at least like, or maybe 2 times ago, I finished the front. I guess I'll show it to you all. I finished the front left, potentially? Front left panel. So this cardigan is worked flat and then seam together, which sounds crazy, but I'm not really concerned about it. But anyway, front left, I think, panel. And then I was in the middle of working on the back panel, which I am now done with. Done with the back panel. So this is the entire back panel. And maybe this was like a stitch marker for where I last was. And so I've worked this much more since then. It has actually worked, sideways this way. I think what's really cool about this particular crochet stitch is it kind of looks like a 1x1 rib. When held, this way versus when you're crocheting it's this way. And I think it looks really cool. So this is the back panel. And then I also finished the front right panel, which is really nice. This is a V-neck cardigan, so that's why you can see this shaping here. And yeah, I was just feeling super into it this might have been like the past week or ever since I came back from my trip. Just feeling it and really enjoying it. And so I got all of that done, and then I started on the sleeve. The sleeve is also worked flat. It's also worked flat. And so this is what I have right now, and then I kind of am at the last parts of this ball of yarn, and so then I kind of just like stopped at the end of this row that I'm currently working on. And so it's a very slim section that I'm working on, so it is probably hard to see, but it is worked again sideways. And so this part right here is the length of the sleeve, and the cuff is just worked like right here, this section. So it's going to be like this on me, and then I'm working it, it'll go around, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is where I'm at right now. Just working on the sleeve, and it's been pretty intuitive so far. I think, again, some of the stitch counts in this crochet pattern, I think I'm just like not used to counting stitches in crochet. Like, I think it's way more difficult to count stitches in crochet than knit, because crochet you don't have all of the live stitches on to count. You kind of just have to like you could just accidentally skip a stitch or crochet in the same stitch. At least for me it is, because I don't crochet all that often. Versus knitting, you can just easily count your live stitches. Like, it's so easy. So, but I think so far it's been going great. Everything looks, the sections all look like how they're supposed to. Like, it looks like a, front panel and a back panel. And so I think that it's all going pretty smoothly. And I'm actually having a really great time crocheting that. So yeah, again, that is the Bespoke cardigan. Oh, I am knitting size 1, and I'm using a 4.5mm crochet hook to make that, and I believe I sized down a crochet hook because my crochet is usually pretty loose gauge compared to, I haven't crocheted that much, but out of the things I did have to size down crochet hooks because my crocheting is very loose. Okay, moving on now to my 3 new cast-ons that you have not seen yet. And these were cast-ons specifically for my trip because I wanted to bring with me things that weren't like super bulky or like lots of yarn with me. I didn't want to bring like a half finished object or like, half done, because that would be like a lot of like wasted space versus knitting on. And so I cast on a bunch of things to bring with me. And I would say this project I'm going to show you now is the one I've worked on the most. I've also worked on it after coming back home, and so the progress you see wasn't all done on my trip, but I did cast on right before my trip so that I could knit on it on the plane. This got knitting done just, I think, mostly on the plane and a little bit in the hotel room. But here it is. Actually, you can see, like, wow, I'm really into purple right now. This is the Market Henley by Claire Jackson, and the yarn I'm using for this is Explore Knits Earthy Sock in the colorway Bloom. Gorgeous, variegated colorway. You can see the variegation more when I hold it closer. And I am knitting the size 36 inches, which I believe is like size 2, and I'm using US 5 needles, 3.75mm needles to knit this, and that's the body needle size, and I believe that's the recommended needle size. It has worked. It is a sweater or a long sleeve shirt, knit top down, and so you can see, I guess you can see that because the top is basically, you know, there, and the body length is just really short right now. I worked on the back panel while I was on the plane, going to Japan, and I think I must have picked up one of the front sections while also on the plane going there, because the plane ride was so long. I really don't like plane rides, and so a plane ride from Seattle to Japan is like, I think it's like 9 hours, 10 hours. It's really long. So I had a lot of knitting time on this, and then I was able to pick up the other side. I might have actually, did I pick up the other side also on the plane ride? There, like just one way. Finished the back, finished one of the fronts, and was almost done with one of the fronts. And then towards the end of my trip, I really wanted to get in the round on the body so that I could just work on the body without doing a lot of counting on the plane ride back. And I was quite successful in that. And so you can see I joined, you know, the fronts. It has this little opening. There's going to be buttons right here at the front, and I am joined now in the round for the body, and I've worked, I think, a good amount of this, which is super nice. I really love the stitch pattern on this. It is a pretty simple pattern to memorize and just like follow along with your knitting. I love how this looks. I also since then have knit the 1x1 rib neck on here, so it just looks that extra like really nice like finished look to it versus just leaving it. And then I have, because I finished my first ball of yarn at this point of the body, that's when I joined my new ball of yarn to do the neck ribbing. And then I have also started a sleeve. There's an option to do short sleeves on this, but I am going to do the long sleeve version of this. I am quite obsessed with how this is turning out right now. It's looking really cute. It's really fun to work on. I guess I can show you the back. It all looks the same. It's the same knit texture across the entire thing. So it's been really nice and comforting to work on right now, and I'm just so excited. I have been wanting to make this for a while. I think ever since I saw it come out, and ever since I saw my Megan make hers, and I love how hers looks, I wanted to make one. It is on my Make 9 for this year, and so this is like my current whip that is from my Make 9 that I'm working on. So overall, very excited, very happy about this one. And the yarn feels great. Again, it's the non-superwash fingering weight yarn from Explore Knits, and yeah, it feels nice and soft. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a really, really nice finished object, and I cannot wait to finish this one. And yeah, this was the project I got the most work done on during my trip. But then I wanted to also bring a sock project with me, because that is a lot of an easier, like, put in a small bag kind of project. Although I worked on this on the Shinkansen in Japan. We took it, and I think it might have been maybe like a 3-hour ride each way. And so anyway, I worked on it on one of the ways, one of the directions. No, I did not get this much done on there. I actually worked a ton of this, most of this sock this past week when I was home. But these are my April socks, and so it felt really nice to actually, I think I cast them on April 1st. So that was super like on time of me to do. Made me feel really nice. These are the Hibernal socks by Summer Lee. The yarn I'm using, the sock set I'm using is Woolberry Fiberco Berry sock set in the colorway You're My Ticket. I believe that this was a Downton Abbey colorway, and then it was paired with this dark green mini that I'm using for the heels and toes. And I am knitting in this pattern a size medium, and I'm using US 1 2.25 millimeter needles to knit this. I really wanted to get the kind of slouchy feel on these socks, the way that Summerlee is wearing them in the pattern pictures, where when you're gonna look at this and be like, that is a very long like leg part of the sock. But I really like how she had it, and it was just kind of like scrunched just a little bit, just slouchy, like a slouchy sock on her. And so I wanted that look. And also in the pattern it says if you want a more slouchy sock feel, to go up a size. And so that's what I did. I feel like normally I would probably knit the size small, but this time I'm knitting the size medium. And even though this is already so long of a leg for the sock, I'm actually half an inch shorter than the pattern states. I needed this 1x1 rib at the top to be 2 inches. And since I was working on this on the train, I didn't have my ruler or any measuring with me, and so I just guessed, and I was half an inch off. So this ribbing is 1.5 inches. I could have made up the half inch in this leg part, but I didn't want to, so I just worked, this must be 6 inches, because I think the pattern says this should be 8 inches. So I'm 7.5 inches right now. So this is 6 plus 1.5, 7.5. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do the same on the second sock, and then I'm just right now continuing on with the rest of the sock. I am on the toe decreases right now, which is super exciting. I just started the toe decreases today. I actually probably worked this much of the foot today, and got to the toe decreases, so I'm hoping I can get this done this week for sure, with significant progress done on the second side of the sock, especially because I have to knit, these are longer socks than my normal, so it's going to take me a bit longer, and it's also a bigger size than my normal, which means more stitches. So I'm still feeling good. It is April 12th, so we're almost halfway done with the month, and I am basically done with my first sock, and so I'm feeling good to be on track. But yeah, these are my April socks, and they're cute. They're blue and green and some brown speckles in there, and I think it's really fun. And I've been loving, these are my 4th now like monthly sock thing, so I've really been enjoying knitting 1 sock per month, or 1 pair of socks per month so far. I'm very happy about it. So this was, another new cast on project for my trip that I worked on just a little bit during my trip. And then I have another, I brought way too many projects to me. I overestimated how much free time of knitting I would have on my trip, but it's okay. I wasn't like desperate for space in my luggage too much, so it's okay. This is my next project that I brought with me to Japan. So I cast this on there. This I worked on during the Shinkansen, like the first ride there, like, that way, and then coming back, I worked on the sock. So this is what I have right now. It started at this section right here, a very small amount of stitches, and then it's growing. I'm trying to figure out the correct side. I think this is the right side, so I'll hold it like this. It's looking really bumpy because of the increases. But this is the Salt and Timber Shawl by Lindsay Fowler. It is a one-size shawl. I'm using US 6 needles, 5mm needles to knit this. And I'm using Sewrella yarn classic sock in the colorway Theater for this. I have 2 skeins of this, and I believe that when I bought this yarn, it was like my plan for it was to knit this pattern. And this, the Salt and Timber Shawl, is, as maybe the name suggests, a pattern in the Salt and Timber book by Lindsay Fowler, which I bought. And so it's really nice to have like another project on my needles right now where I'm working from one of the books that I bought and, love all the patterns from. And so this pattern's making me really happy. There's a lot of garter stitch that happens right at the beginning here with increases. And then there is this section right here, which kind of does this like zigzag. Yeah, blocking for this shawl is going to be really nice, like to bring out all of the designs. There's a kind of like zigzag texture going on there with like ridges of garter stitch, some stockinette and reverse stockinette. And then the part that I'm working on right now is the part that's going to look like trees. And so you can see this here. It's going to just be all across the shawl, but this is going to be like the top of the trees. You can see right here, and it's just going to repeat this kind of like branching like this until it looks like a tree with branches. So that's where I'm going, or that's what I am working on right now for this pattern. This is kind of what it's looking like on my needles right now. It's not too squished, but I think if I stretched it all the way, it would come off of my needles. So I think it's in a really great place right now in terms of like cord length on my needles. This one has been a little bit more difficult to work on because there has been a lot of counting that I needed to do. Right now I am following a chart. Is it something I could kind of memorize at this point? Maybe, but I do feel like I have to reference it pretty often anyway, so not a super easy knit to work on. It was actually not a great knit in public, and I would call that like knitting on a train project because there was a lot of counting. I needed to count the rows I've knit, I needed to count the increases, and like sometimes when you're on the train or, you know, like public transportation, you have to like get up to let the other person come out and all of that. And I'm always just kind of like nervous, and I want to be like aware of what's happening in my surroundings. I can't kind of just like lock in and like watch a movie or listen to an audiobook or something. Like I feel like I need to always just be a little bit aware of what's happening around me. So yeah, but surprisingly, I don't think I made any mistakes. I say surprisingly because I'm like, so far stitch counts has seemed great, so I must have not made a mistake. But for the amount of times I was distracted by this, or like while I was working on this and being distracted, I'm kind of surprised there's no mistakes in stitch count. But so that was my shawl project that I brought with me on the trip. I brought 3 projects total. It was a sweater, a shawl, and a sock. That was too much. I should have just kept with the sweater and the sock. But it's funny. I think it's funny that I thought I would have that much knitting time. But I think better to have a little too much knitting than not enough knitting. And I got work on all 3 of them anyway. Worked a little bit on, and so I would call that a win. And I had a great time. So those were my 3 new cast-ons. All really exciting. And they were like, you know, my sock one is one that I planned to work on during April anyway, and I have a make 9 now on my needles again, and then a shawl that I have been wanting to make for a while and had the yarn for. And so as far as like all of my whips, I'm feeling really happy with the type of projects I'm working on, like where I'm got the patterns from. Like some like already own the pattern and just need to make it, and the yarn from my stash, and some more newly acquired yarn and all of that. And so I'm feeling like really good about my whips right now. Okay, I want to talk really quickly about my spinning because last I talked, I think I finished my Nest Holiday Fiber Advent, and so I wanted to, and I'm still working on my sweater spin, although I haven't worked on that yet since the last time, but I started another spin on my Ladybug wheel because my sweater spin right now is worked on my electric wheel, and I wanted to spin something on my Ladybug. I love spinning on my Ladybug. It sits right in front of my TV, so it's really easy for me to watch TV and spin. But I'll hold up my bobbin right now. I am working on my Hello Lavender. This is the first time finally working on a Hello Lavender, I believe. I think this is my first time spinning with fiber from Hello Lavender. This is a Rambouillet base in the colorway Summer Bloom, so I did just bring this to show you in the camera what it looks like in fiber form and how it looks spun up. I got this fiber from Flock last year, and so I'm really excited to finally be spinning with it. And these colors made me really happy, and I thought it was really great. There's a lot of flowers blooming right now in the yard and just around, and yeah. I know this is called Summer Bloom though, but I felt very similar vibes looking at it color-wise for springtime flowers to be popping up. And so, yeah, it just felt really nice to do this. I am spinning this as a fractal, a 2-ply fractal, and so I guess I split it up like 2 to 4. And so this is my first half, actually. I did finish the half already of my fiber. It is a 4-ounce braid. So, yeah, this is my first half of the fiber spun. I'm working on the other half right now. I think it would be kind of nice to have this one done by next week or by end of next week or something. Pace-wise, I feel like that would be good. I am acquiring more fiber, more than I thought. I think the episode right before this, I had a lot of fiber acquisitions, so I would like to make sure I get through a lot of my fiber so I can get to spinning all of the things that are really pretty, because they're all pretty and I want to spin all of them. So I'm feeling really good about the spinning right now. I missed spinning while I was on my trip because I can't bring my wheel on my trip with me, so it's really nice to get back into kind of like a spinning mode. Okay, I think now we are finally at the acquisition section of the video. I just did a time check to make sure I wasn't already way over time. But let's talk really quickly. I think that this might be my only like non-Japan acquisition that I can remember to talk about. And I think it's been some time, so probably no spoilers, but this is the April La Mercerie Year of Fiber braid. This is from 316 Dye Studio, and it is a 100% Corriedale fiber in the colorway Wood Ash. It's a really nice kind of like dark, neutrally color braid. And I have bought fiber from 316 Dye Studio before, and I've loved it. So I'm happy to see that they were part of this Year of Fiber thing as well. And I am really happy with these colors. It's something I probably would have picked for myself. And excited to, I haven't spun with Corriedale in a while, so it'll be cool to kind of like get this spinning sometime. I haven't spun anything from the Year of Fiber yet. I'm trying to figure out at what kind of cadence I'd want to do that, because I kind of feel like it would be kind of cool to like do them back to back, or do something with them and as a whole, not like all together, but just kind of like either spin them back to back or in chunks or something, versus just like treating them as like individual just stuff in my stash, which I could do also, and that would be fine. But I do love a theme of thing. So, but anyway, this is April's one. Okay, now on to my Japan acquisitions. Okay, so for my trip to Japan, I actually went with my friend. So it was me and my boyfriend and my friend and her boyfriend. We planned to kind of like do a lot of things together. We stayed in the same hotels and we planned some activities to do together. I also met up with my sister and her boyfriend there in Japan. Well, they got there way before us, but surprisingly, like we didn't plan our trips together at all, but we had some overlap. The end of her trip overlapped with the beginning of mine, and so I got to hang out with her for a couple of days, and so that was all really nice. And I had a really great time. It was my second time going to Japan ever in my life. But the first time that I went, I was in middle school, and it was a school trip. And I feel like I wasn't as appreciative as I should have been, maybe. Like, I remember having a great time, but I can't remember, like, every single place that we went. Like, I wish I took down, like, an itinerary of where we went, how we got there, and all of that. I have some pictures from, my middle school time there, but I remember having a great time, and so I was really excited to go again as an adult, doing my own thing, and can like choose where I want to go and plan that, but that was also kind of scary. So it was really nice, and I felt less nervous about this trip because I was going with a friend who has been to Japan multiple times recently, and kind of knew how like the train system worked and how to get where and like what kind of services we could use to like transport our luggage and all of that. So, and what places to go, what places not to go, places worth it, not worth it. So yeah, so that was kind of like the trip plan. And this friend of mine, her name is Rumor. I've talked about her briefly before. We are friends from basically elementary school. We're friends in elementary school. We went to different middle schools and high schools, and then we ended up going to the same college. We're roommates in college for a little bit, and then she's living back in Hawaii. I'm in Washington State, and separately we somehow ended up doing very crafty things. So I'm obviously very into knitting and like spinning and, you know, all of that, and she is really into sewing. And so part of her plans for Japan was to go to like a fabric district, I think is what she called it. And it was really cool because basically wherever we were, whatever street we're on or something, most of the stores there were all like fabric stuff, sewing stuff. But they also had some yarn stuff there as well, some crafting stuff, in addition to all of like the fabric and sewing stuff and kits and all of that. And so I followed her there to all of those stores. We also went to a craft store that I'll talk about that had like levels of stuff, and one of them was like knitting, and that was great. I did get some yarn. I also got some sewing things. I got some fabric because, you know, again, my friend is very into sewing, and so I felt really inspired to sew something and buy stuff to sew something. And so I'm really hoping that this year I'll actually sew a bit more things. I am feeling inspired right now, and so we'll see if that carries into actual execution. Okay, and I feel like as I hold up these things, I might have more of a story to tell, but also maybe not. So, and I don't really have a specific order to talk about all of these, so I'm just gonna pick it out of my bag, my huge bag, and then talk about it. Okay, this might be a first weird thing to talk about, but I think that this is a wool shaver thing. I have been wanting to try one of these on my knits to like shave off of any of like the pilling that happens. I've been wanting to buy one for a very long time, and I just never got the motivation to. And then when I saw this in Japan, I was like, I will just get it now because it's pretty reasonably priced. And yeah, as far as if this works well, I have no idea. I haven't taken it out of the box yet, but I will update you all on how it goes. But I'm pretty sure I have to like Google Translate everything that's on the box, but I'm pretty sure it's used to shave off the lint from your clothes. So I'm excited to try that out. Okay, I have these like small little trinket things. They're just like small package things to talk about. Okay, I got some really cute stitch markers from a store. It was one of the fabric stores my friend wanted to go to, but there were some stitch markers and I wanted to get them. They look just like the plastic ones that are, I think, the Clover brand that I have. They're like orange and bluish kind of color. But this one is pink, and I hope the camera focuses because they are shaped in hearts. This top part. There you can see it. And it's in this little pack, and it's really cute, and they were pink. And they actually had different colors, and they also had one shaped like tulips, like the flower. And I thought they're really cute, and so I did get a whole bunch. It must be, is it the Tulip brand? It says Tulip on it. But it also says Japan, and I just like enjoy that. Who knows, maybe you can buy this in the US, but I like that it says Japan on it, so that is why I got them. They're very, very cute and also very handy type of stitch markers. Okay, and then I also got a whole bunch of these patches because the stores have just the cutest patches ever, like to sew on or to iron on to things. Not that I've ever done that before, but they were so cute that I will find somewhere to put them. Got a Winnie the Pooh one. And then some I'm actually going to gift like to my mom because she might like them. And she does sew more than me, so maybe she can actually sew them on things. Got a little Tuxedo Sam character. This is like a Sanrio character. My sister really likes that character, or at least did. And then my mom really likes Snoopy, and so I got these really cute Snoopy ones. And then there's some Rilakkuma ones because I also love Rilakkuma. And then a Cinnamoroll. There were so many Sanrio character things in Japan. It was really hard to resist all of them, but Cinnamoroll is a cutie, and so I did get one of those. Okay, I have a couple more trinket things or just smaller things to talk about before getting into the fabric and yarn. We went to this store that just was all buttons. Like all buttons, and I was really excited about it, so I wanted to get some really cute buttons. And so I got these. I'm gonna just keep it in the bag. They are flower shaped buttons, and I got 2 different colors because I couldn't resist. And I hope the camera focuses. So while we wait for it to focus, I got some in this like black color, but you can see it's kind of like a holographic kind of like coloring in the center of them. And then there's also ones that were kind of like lighter colored here, where the holographic part is around the outside and not the center. If you can see that, like the difference. And I just thought they were really cute. I got 6 of each color. I have no project in mind right now to use them in, but I think that I will find something to use them with because they're so pretty. Okay, and then what do I talk about? Well, okay, I'll talk about these. Actually, what order? Anyway, okay. I went to this or me and my friend went to this store called Okadaya. It was in Shinjuku. I'll just show you the bag for the name. Okadaya, it was in Shinjuku. I don't know if they have like multiple stores elsewhere, but it was like an 11-story building. Although I know that sounds crazy because it's just a crafting store. But I think it started at level 6. They might be doing renovations from like 1 through 5 or something. But it's just an entire crafting store with materials for crafting for like everything. And so we definitely had, I think we checked out maybe 4 or 5 floors. No, maybe 4 floors. 3? But we definitely checked out the knitting floor and the sewing and fabric floor. So some of the fabric-ish things or like sewing related things I got were these really cute bias, what are they called? Bias tape. I don't think I've ever seen such cute ones before. And I asked my friend, I was like, I want to get them, but I don't know how much because I don't know how or when I'm going to use them or what for. So he told me to get 2. But you can see I just got 2 different colors of these. They're like flower printed or like flower prints on it. This one is like a darker purple and this one's like a light pink. But I just thought they were so pretty. Again, I have no project ideas to use them on, but I'm hoping at some point I will find a use for them. But I'd be perfectly happy with them just being sitting here and being really cute, and I can look at them as often as I want. Okay, and then they also had these kind of like scissors, or like, I'm pretty sure it's for sewing and fabric use or something, just to get really like close in there, but it is Hello Kitty, I was gonna say Hello Kitty flavor. It is, oh my gosh, I'm trying to hold this and also focus the camera so you can actually see it. But there's Hello Kitty on it, basically, and it's pink, and so I just really felt like I had to get it, because I can use it to cut yarn too. That might be, it's probably too heavy duty to use for just cutting yarn, but it's so cute, and it comes with a cover, and it's pink and Hello Kitty, and so I had to get that. Okay, I think that's it for all of kind of like the smaller things. Let's talk about the bigger things. Since I'm already talking about the Okadaya store, I want to show you the fabric that I got from there because I'm really, really happy with it. You'll very much see a theme in the kinds of fabrics that I gravitate towards, but they had these pre-packaged, like, cut fabric. And to be honest, I was just really nervous about going up to them at the cutting counter and telling them how much I wanted. One, because they count in meters, not yards, which is not, it's fine, but I'm, you know, they understand if I say like 1, I say 1 or 2, like they mostly understand numbers, but I was just made me nervous to have to talk to them, just in case they don't understand or misunderstand, because I don't speak Japanese. But anyway, it just made me nervous, and so they had already cut cloth that I could just buy. Actually, also purchasing things made me nervous because I had no idea what they were asking me. But I made it through. It's fine. But anyway, pre-cut 1 meter. I don't know how wide that is, because 1 meter is just in one dimension. But I figured I could figure out what to do with these. But they're very cute. I think that this is Liberty fabric. Potentially. And if not, they look very much like it, and I'm just very happy with how it looks. But I basically got like a pink flowered one and a yellow orange flowered one. Cute. These might not, anyway, I have no idea. They were just prepackaged, and I thought they were cute. Okay, now here's the really exciting thing. If you know Liberty fabrics, it's very expensive. The patterns are very much look like that, like a flowery kind of pattern. And what I found out from my friend is that in Japan, they have a special line or like pattern. I was going to say colorway, but just like patterns from Liberty fabric that have Sanrio characters on it. Like Hello Kitty, My Melody, and all of that. And I was like, are you kidding me? And you can only get it in Japan. I think you can buy it off of eBay or something, but people like massively will overprice this if you try to buy it off of there, or like they try to resell it, right? And okay, Liberty fabric already is expensive, but I felt like I needed to get 2 meters of one of them because it felt really special and so cute. So I got this one. It has pink flowers on it. Very similar look to the rest of what I got, but if you look closely, there is the My Melody character all over this print. It's a little like pink bunny. Do you see her? Right here, right there. And there's also strawberries on here. She's like hugging some strawberries, and I also love strawberries. Like right here. So I felt that this was a very well planned, not well planned. This was something that needed to happen for me to get, and so I did get 2 meters of this fabric. What am I going to make with it? I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for me to figure out because it feels like such a special fabric print that I want it to be like the perfect pattern match to it. So if you have ideas, please let me know. But for now, I will just keep it and stare at how cute it is. I'm really, really happy because actually we did go to a smaller fabric store that had these and all other different Sanrio character Liberty fabric print, and I resisted. I said, no, I don't need it. And then later on, I was like, I kind of regret it because if you can only get it in Japan, and I don't know when I would come back to Japan again, felt kind of sad. And so when we found this in the Okadaya store, I was like, it's a sign. This is my second opportunity, my second chance to get it, and so I got me some of that. Okay, we went to this other store. I think it was called, I'm going to switch stores a little bit. I'll go back to Okadaya because I didn't talk about my yarn from there yet. But the last fabric thing I got was from, I think it was called Tomato. I think they had multiple shops like right next to each other, and I don't know what the difference was. But we went to one that was just levels, maybe like 5 levels of just all fabric. Like each level was just like different kinds of fabric. Like if you want, I don't know, like cotton, it was on one aisle. You want quilting, it's on one floor. Silk, one floor. Linen, one floor. Like it's crazy. But anyway, so I got some from there. I got, I think 3 meters of this. you can see a pattern again. I love like small little floral prints on fabric. It's just something that really I gravitate towards. And I thought this one was really cute and pretty. And so I got 3 meters of this to hopefully make a dress. That's kind of the plan. I don't have a specific dress pattern in mind, but I thought a dress would look really cute on this, or with this pattern. So yeah, it's a design and printed in Japan, which I wanted to make sure I didn't get one that said like made in the US. Again, not that there's anything wrong with it, but if I'm in Japan and buying fabric, it would be nice if it was made in Japan, or you know, something like that. Okay, moving back to that Okadaya store, I got some fun yarn. And again, similar to what I just said about fabric being made in Japan or dyed, printed in Japan, I wanted to get yarn that was like somehow tied to Japan and not just that they sold it in Japan. I'm going to open up these bags and I hope it doesn't make too much of a noise. But these are the first skeins that went into my hands. I found some hand-dyed yarn that is dyed in Japan, and I'm pretty sure anyway. I did have to, I think a lot of it is in English, but these are some skeins that I got. There you can see by the label that these are all from the same like dyer, and it is Nona, I think, yarn. That might be the brand. It's kind of hard looking at the labels, like what's the name. It says Nona all over in the back here, and so I think Nona is the brand. The label is very cute. It's a sheep that has all different kinds of like floral, made up of different floral or plant things. And I got 2 colorways. I got 2 skeins of each. It says Rambouillet Merino wool as a base for both of these, and so I wonder if that is like a Shanico wool or a blend. It does say just 100% wool, but the colorways, this one says kiwi fruit, potentially. Actually, there's like 2 names on it. That might be the colorway, but I'm gonna say kiwi fruit or madder. I don't know. And then this one's, oh no, this one says madder. Actually, now I'm confused. But either way, why does it, this one says kiwi fruit, and I feel like that's got to be the colorway name. Anyway, one's a variegated speckle, light peach color, and this one is a brown. Tonal, more tonal. And I think, you know, by themselves could be used. Also could be used together as something really cute. So lots of options. But I really liked having a yarn that was, I think, dyed in Japan. It says 100% naturally dyed, handcrafted in Japan. Naturally dyed, okay. That's very interesting. So, yeah. It says made in Japan. So that made me happy and pleased with this yarn brand. If you've heard of it before, let me know. And then I found some other cool yarn that I haven't seen before, the brand. And I really liked how it felt. And so this was also, I think, made in Japan. Yeah, made in Japan. I will hold it up. They look like this. I got 4 balls of this. They are, I think this is the Daruma brand because that's what it says. Yeah, Daruma on here. This is, it says Airy Wool Alpaca. So I'll hold it like this. And it feels really nice. Sorry, I'm trying to like read and also like talk and describe this to you. It feels really nice. This might be like a DK weight yarn potentially. It says 30 grams, 100 meters. 80% merino wool and 20% royal baby alpaca. And it must be it must be 30 grams then, right? Yeah. But why does it say, oh, actually, sorry. It has a yard conversion on here. So 100 meters, 109 yards, 30 grams. And so I have 120 grams of this yarn. I do not know what I'm going to do with this, but it feels really soft. I could make maybe like a small scarf or something. But I did want to have just a little bit of it because it was really nice feeling. And again, yarn from Japan. Okay, and as far as colorways, does it even have like a color? Might have like a number, maybe 3. There is a number 3 on the tag. Are they on all the tags? Yeah. That could be the color name. But it's like a really light, kind of like brown, gray brown, I would say. A really nice feeling. Okay, the next one, the last one actually, yarn that I got, that I was really excited about because I feel like I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this yarn brand. I've never looked into it because, to be honest, I was never really that interested. But what caught my eye this time was because this colorway I thought was really pretty. I got some Noro yarn. I didn't get too much of it, and I actually don't have too much information about it. I just have heard of the brand before, and I knew that it was like made in Japan, and that everyone it's been a trend, I feel like, lately or something. But I was never really into a lot of the colors that I've seen. But let me turn it this way so you can see this ball of yarn. This colorway made me gasp and want to grab some of it. So I actually ended up getting three balls of these. You can see them here. I guess I'm holding 2 of them. But I love these colors. There's so many colors in this. It feels very kind of like maybe spring or autumn kind of colors with like the purple, brown, orange, light blue, yellow. Did I say purple? Just like really, really pretty colors. And I really like how they all look together. And so I really wanted to get some of these because they're made in Japan. I thought that was perfect as well. So, got me some of this. I wasn't thinking too much about what I wanted to make with this. Would I have gotten more to make sure I had a sweater quantity? I almost did, and then I put some back. But now I don't know what I could make with three of these. I didn't realize that it is 150 grams for each of these, 330 meters for each of them. So I need to look up some patterns. I think that this is a worsted weight yarn. It is 70% wool, 15% silk, 10% mohair. This yarn brand probably does different kinds of like yarn bases. So this is the base that I got, the one that I just said, wool, silk, and mohair. It feels really nice. Still feels slightly rustic-y, but I think that it'll be fine. And the color, I think, is number 7, if you want to look that up. But yeah, I really love these colors, and so I was really happy to come across it while I was looking at yarn in the store. So that was really exciting. Exciting for me to find some Noro yarn in Japan that I really like the colors of. And I think that that is actually all that I got. Not saying that that was a small amount of things, but I think I was pretty good for the most part from what I could have been. But definitely I feel like this trip, at least going with my friend who's like super into sewing, it made me wish that I sewed more because there was so many beautiful fabrics that we came across and that I looked at that I wish I could have bought, but I knew that chances of me sewing it were low because I just really don't sew that much. Don't really know. I'm not as intuitive about fabric and amounts as I am with yarn, I feel like. So I was pretty restrictive, but I did get, both yarn and fabric and some little tools here and there that are all super exciting. I'm really happy with all of them, and I had a great trip. I don't want to talk too much about the trip that's not really yarn related, because this podcast is the, more of like the yarn or just crafty kind of information, but I had a great time on my trip. We got to see cherry blossoms. I kind of wonder if any of you were thinking about that when I said I went to Japan end of March, beginning of April. We did get to see the cherry blossoms. It was so pretty. I think they were starting to bloom when we got there, and so towards the end of the trip, there were some trees that looked extra fluffy with flowers. So I got some really cute pictures. I did take some finished object pictures of just a couple of my things that I brought to Japan to take pictures of, that I'll post eventually, I hope sometime soon. Went to the Nara Deer Park, got some really cute pictures with the deer. I think we were able to avoid, if you've heard about the deer there, some of them are kind of crazy. Like, they will they followed us and they kind of bit my jacket a couple times, but I feel like we got a good crowd of deer wherever we were. They were a little more calm. We found a group of them that were just chilling and like napping, and so that they were so cute when they were just like sitting there closing their eyes. And so yeah, that was fun. That was like a highlight. Oh, we went to a tea farm that I thought was really cool. We went on like a tour of a tea farm where we got to like look at all their tea plants, and then we also had a tea tasting there and had lunch that was made with some tea. Like, I had a curry where the rice that they made, they soaked it or they cooked it in hojicha, which was really cool, and learned about some tea, green tea. Did you know that most tea is actually made from the same tea plant? It just depends on how you dry it and roast it and process the tea leaf, which was crazy to me. But that was actually one of the really fun things during the trip, was to do that. So if you look on my Instagram, I posted my Maeve vest, some of like the bonus pictures I had in it, because that was a vest that I took with me to Japan, and I wore it so many times because it was so easy to put on. It was so convenient. It was so comfortable, that I wore it basically throughout the trip. Multiple times, maybe 3 or 4 days of the trip, I wore my Maeve vest. And so I do have pictures on my Instagram of, I did wear it to the tea farm, and so some of those pictures are there if you want to look at that and see some of that tea, some of that food. But anyway, yeah, I'm still recovering from the jet lag. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think it was going to affect me that much, but when I came back, I just slept so much. Like, I feel like yesterday was the first day that I felt kind of normal sleeping schedule of waking up and then being tired at night versus being tired like in the middle of the day, and not tired at night. So finally feel like I'm getting back to normal, kind of getting back into a routine. I absolutely miss the food in Japan. We had such good food, and it was really fun. We went to the convenience store, like 7-Eleven, Lawson's, and Family Mart, basically every day, and definitely before going back to the hotel at the end of the day to buy some onigiri, the triangle-shaped rice balls, to have for breakfast the next day. We had that every single day. We tried different flavors, but my favorite is the one that has salmon in it. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Like, I could talk about this for a very long time, because I had a great time, and I hope that I can eventually go back one day again, because I had such a great time. I want to eat more food. I want to try more food. I tried fugu, and if you know what that is, that's pufferfish. And if you've heard about it, it is, if you don't prepare it right, it is poisonous, so dangerous to eat. And my friends wanted to try it, since I think you can only get it in Japan, or like in Japan they have like licensed chefs or people who cut up the fish, who you have to be licensed in order to do that, because it is, if you do it wrong, it's poisonous. So I was a little worried and scared, but I think we went to a pretty reputable place, and obviously I'm fine, so it's all good. That was kind of another crazy thing that we did. That was kind of, just part of the plan. Like, I think we did a lot of things that we wanted to do successfully. Eating fugu was on there. Kind of nervous. I would say it has no taste. And it's purely a texture thing, and it's kind of chewy. If you're not that interested, I would say not totally worth it, in my opinion. Like, it, quote, tastes good if you just drown it in the sauce, because the sauce tastes good. So I probably wouldn't go out of my way to eat it again. But it was an experience, and that's kind of part of it sometimes. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. There's a lot of things. I want to go back, but probably not anytime soon. But I had a great time. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say. I felt extra chatty today because it's been 3 weeks since I've last talked to you all. I hope you've all been doing well, and I've missed you all. So I hope you're having a great start to your April. I know we're like already in the middle of April. And yeah, please update me. What have you all been doing for the past 3 weeks? What have you been working on? Any new patterns came out? Are there new tests coming out? I applied for a new test knit just today. We'll see if I get it. I hope I do, because it'll be my first time test knitting for this designer. But if not, that's totally fine. I'll probably just get the pattern when it comes out. I have a lot of whips currently on my needles right now, so a lot of things to work on anyway. But yeah, with that, I think that's all I have to share. I hope you all had a great time listening to this podcast, watching what I worked on, and looking at some of my acquisitions from my trip to Japan. And I am looking forward to talking to you all in next week's video. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.